and welcome to Lumberjack Impact. I'm Autumn Gray. Lumberjack Impact is a show where we highlight our amazing faculty here at SFA and explore all things that make our college great. With us today is Denise Stringer-Davis, an assistant professor of art education in the School of Art here at SFA. Davis specializes in clay art. She works alongside her colleagues to introduce her students to new and old forms of art. Recently, Miss Davis had the opportunity to learn more about ancient kiln firing techniques in Arkansas. Here to talk all about this and more is Denise Stringer-Davis. Welcome to the show, Miss Davis. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start out with talking about the most important person here, you. What sparked your interest originally in creating art?
My whole life, I've kind of grown up making art, and I loved creating and finding new ways to express myself. And I think finding that as a young person, especially like I had dyslexia and it was undiagnosed. And so by using my art as a way of expressing myself, I think it gave me an outlet that maybe I might not have had in other ways.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what other techniques do you specialize in specifically? What are you more drawn to when it comes to art?
So printmaking is my area of training, but I also do book arts and sculpture. I've done some video work. So it's really just, I'm more of an image maker at this point than fitting with a specific area. It's just whatever the idea needs to be is where I go.
Yeah. Tell me about how you found yourself as a professor here at SFA.
So I'm actually an alumni here, and so very excited to be back home at SFA. But I've grown up in the area. I'm from Lufkin originally, and I always wanted to be at SFA, but I took a little bit of a circuitous route. I actually became an art educator and started teaching middle school at the beginning and then high school and college, and it just brought me back here.
Awesome. Okay, so now let's shift to your residency in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your artist residency with the Turkey Track Initiative.
Right. So I was very excited to find out about the opportunity. And basically what it is they have a kiln that is an ancient style kiln from Japan. The style actually comes from Korea, though. And an archaeologist and his group of archaeologists from Japan, Tadashi Hirakawa, he came to Arkansas and he actually built that kiln with a professor from TCU that I knew. And I think they've fired it maybe 6 times because it takes a lot of time and energy to fire the kiln because it's wood fire. But the thing that makes it so special is that this is the kind of kiln that allowed for high firing of clay. And what that means is the clay or the internal temperature of the kiln gets up to over 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. And so by doing that, you're able to not only change the structure of the clay and make it ceramic, but also the ash turns to glaze. So it turns to glass basically on the surface of the clay.
Interesting. So you said that obviously the fires can get super hot. What is the process of getting those fires to be that degree of Fahrenheit?
So first of all, the kiln has an interesting layout. It actually is on an incline. And so you start the fire at the bottom of the kiln, the lower end, and it's Tsuchigama is the name of the kiln. Which means cave kiln, basically. And so you start the fire at the base, and we had to leave that warming overnight because you can't raise the temperature too high too quickly because things will blow up. And so because of the shock of the temperature change. So we started that with a gas fire to start the warming overnight, and then gradually starting the next morning and all through 3 days, we would feed the fire with wood and gradually increase the temperature within the kiln.
Awesome. So you did bring some creations for us to look at. Did you create these works of art in that Japanese kiln fire?
Yeah, so these are pieces that I created, and they were made to actually fire within the kiln. So they're kind of experiments. I didn't know whether they would end up being something that I used or not, but obviously when you take time to make something, you would like it to be something that you could use. So we'll see if it ends up being in an art piece or not. But basically, the white pieces,
Yeah, absolutely.
So the white pieces are made out of a purchased clay body. And so it's a white clay body that you can buy from, I think we got it in Houston. Whereas this is made out of clay that was actually from here in East Texas. In fact, Redland, because of the red clay, so the iron oxide that's in the clay makes it red. And so with these pieces that are dark, those are actually made out of clay that I harvested from the land here. And then I wanted to keep it dark, so in order to temper it, to keep it from shrinking too fast or too much, I added charcoal that I ground up. And by putting that in there, it kind of allows it to be a little more stable and shrink less. And so on these, I think you can kind of see the red of the clay more, which is more like the way it looked whenever I started. But obviously you can see the effect of the fire on the clay.
Yeah, amazing. Well, now going back to your Arkansas residency, how did this residency influence future projects you might want to take on?
So I really enjoyed harvesting the clay because you asked me about how did I become an artist. Well, in my front yard, and I lived in the woods of East Texas, the ditch had some really good clay in it. And I would go dig up the clay and I would make pots like I saw in the Natural History Museum for the Native American exhibits. And I always wanted the pots to turn out and so that I would be able to fire them and they would be hard, but I didn't understand the chemistry of it and the science of it. And so whenever I went back to harvesting the clay and processing it with the knowledge I have now and working outside, it really made me realize how much I missed working outside. And so now I'm actually in the process of trying to create a space that I can do that regularly. Also, the idea of the importance of place and how place can shape you as an individual. I think that's an important thing for me. The clay that we have and the dirt that we have has a history of its own. And not only that, but thinking about the history of different people that have lived here, like the Caddo Nation, and how they have used the resources. So all those things are important to me. And it's also leading me in a path where I'm planning on creating curriculum to share with other educators, other art educators, including my students, that focuses on ecology, the environment, and environmentally friendly practices with materials as well as the way that we use them.
Awesome. Okay, well, just to wrap things up, where can our viewers go to gather more information about such things that we discussed?
So, if you're interested in harvesting your own clay, what you would do is you would search for processing wild clay. As far as the firing process, there are actually people that are doing workshops that teach how to do pit firing. We also do it here at SFA. We do firing of lots of different types and different kilns in our ceramics department. And so if people are interested in learning more about working with clay, they can definitely go there. They could also look up the Turkey Track Initiative, which is in the beginning phases, but soon they'll have their own website up and people can go there and look at what they have available.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show and showing off your beautiful art pieces. And thank you all for joining us for another Lumberjack Impact. If you would like to see more episodes like this or other Jack TV programs, check us out on YouTube by searching Jack TV SFA. We'll see you next time. AXA!
This program is brought to you by the Department of Media and Communication at Stephen F. Austin State University.